This is Alchemizing Energy, and today I have a special guest with me. Let me introduce him. His name is Baba Obanjoko. He is a Babalawo and a very prominent person in the community. And I wanted to bring him here because, when we were having a conversation earlier, um, we began to talk about politics and the current situation as it stands. And we got into what would happen if we were really engaged in a civil war. Would we be able to survive it? And he had a very interesting take, and I said, what, we need to bring this to the people, because I think that we there's a certain level of egoism that we have, that we really think that we're invincible at some point. And I think that this is a really interesting take, so I wanted to bring this take to the forefront. Without further ado, let me bring to Alchemizing Energy, Baba Obanjoko.
Greetings, everybody. It's my pleasure to join you all today to discuss the situation that we are faced with in our community. Of course, as needless to say, there is an emergency situation that's going on within the nation. Today, from month to month, we have no idea of what measures are going to be taken by, you could say, our government. Uh, and many people are predicting that there's some very drastic um, conditions ahead for us all, most certainly economically. But today we want to talk about the situation if there was a civil war, and most especially what would be the condition, or what would be the situation of Black people in America. And I want to say this: most of us, the majority of us, are in delusion. We think that because we have a few pop guns and we have a few gangs here and there, that we could fight a full scale war uh, against this nation. And that's what it would amount to. It wouldn't only be against uh, the average Caucasian on the street. It would be ultimately against the government. Because as we come out to quote unquote say defend ourselves, then we're going to be looked at, as we already are in some cases, as a strict terrorist. And we would have absolutely nothing to sustain a long-term battle with. In other words, we don't have the firepower. We don't have the technology. We don't have the training. We don't have the solidarity to think that we could actually fight a war against the American public, namely other radical white people, and the government, which ultimately would back them up. Just go back to Tulsa, Oklahoma, and the massacre that took place in 1921. It started off as an internal situation with the white and the blacks in Tulsa. But then ultimately, the government itself got involved and backed the white constituency and bombed the black community.
So is that what happened?
And there's nothing, absolutely nothing, to stop it today.
Wait. So you're saying that Tulsa started off as a disagreement in a community, and then the
Absolutely.
government actually came in and bombed Tulsa?
No, they were private. The government didn't do the bombing. The government sanctioned the white the white people that were there who had planes. They bombed Tulsa from airplanes. I don't know if you know that.
Well, I know the same thing
They
happened
dropped the bombs. They
in
dropped the
Philadelphia.
bombs. They dropped bombs on Greenville, Archer, and Pine. Those were the three streets: Greenville, Archer, and Pine. And they dropped bombs on those three, on that area of town, and perched a machine gun, which is now labeled Machine Gun Hill. And as the people, when they bombed the buildings, the stores and the homes of the black people that were on those three streets, they started running out of their establishments, and they mowed them down with machine guns that had been perched upon a hill that was nearby, called Machine Gun Hill. And then they piled them up on wagons and buried them in a mass grave. And they're still, quote unquote, saying that they have no idea of where that mass grave was today. Nobody's been able to find it. But all of a sudden, all of those bodies, all of those thousands of bodies that they murdered were never recovered. So, not to digress, I'm talking about what happened in 1929. What could absolutely happen today, but only it wouldn't be Tulsa, Oklahoma. It would be probably every major city in this nation. Just as they're calling people out for the ICE out for deportation, they will also call the National Guards and also the military if black people started to come out for confrontation or started to pose a threat.
Honestly, now I did a show before this where I talked about it was fake news. And I know it was fake news. I talked about the thing where they showed a tank, and I'm gonna show you this video where they were trying to say that they thought that the YNs were the ones who stole this tank. Saying that they're like, oh, they stole a tank, and then we have like people, you have like the Chicago gang members that are like, we're tough and this, that, the other. And so I said, okay, well, did we actually steal a tank, from the government? So it's fake news. No, we did not steal an actual tank from the government. That was actually from another thing. But I wanted to show that is that, how easily people can say something like this and then create information and put fake information out there and then get people riled up. And the bottom line is that all it takes is a video. So what happened is like this video came out, which I'm showing right here, where it showed this is actually from Great Britain. It's not even from America, right? So I just went ahead and I said, okay, did we really steal a tank in Memphis? And I did a show about it, a real quick show. But the whole objective of me doing this show was to have the discussion that we're having right here. If this were to be a real thing and we were to really do something like this, do you know how many other people, militias and people like this would kick into effect, as they all feel like they are patriots, that they need to fight for the government, and how much in bad shape we would be if this was a real
thing. It'd be crazy. Not only, Monica, will the radical, racist, imperialist people like Charlie Kirk and the rest of them uh, come against Black America. But Black America itself would fight for and against their own communities. That's how sick we are.
Yeah. Yep.
We
would be joining them
right today. I know some people may say that this is beside the point, but right today, we still celebrate. I'm talking about the mind, the psychology of the Black family, if there is such a term called Black. The psychology of the Black people today is we're still celebrating their independence. We still celebrate that, and we still hold the 4th of July as a major holiday in our family structure. That's to show you where our mind is. What nation, what race on this earth celebrates the independence of their slave masters? And when they got their independence, that is when they began the height of slavery. They didn't start to import slaves. They were serfs / slaves, and many of the slaves worked side by side in the colonies with Caucasians until we assisted them in the Revolutionary War. When we assisted them and they got their freedom, then that's when they started the height of slave trade. They went over and started importing our brothers and sisters from the motherland, and then enslaved those that were in bondage with them. Many of them were serfs. But then they enslaved.
What is a serf? What is a serf?
They are I'm sorry, not serf, indentured. Many of them were indentured servants.
And so, do you also carry the thing that there were actual Africans here in America before the actual slaves got brought?
Absolutely. Okay. There were African families. The original, as a matter of fact, when Columbus landed, there was no such thing as red. They weren't fighting red men. They were fighting Black men and women. Most of your indigenous Indians were not red. They were Black. And people, of course, in all of your cowboy movies and so on and so forth, they show the Indian as red or red of a reddish hue. But no, the majority of your the Indian, the foundation, the true American in this country is the Black man and woman. We were the original indigenous people on this earth. So there's many. As a matter of fact, a lot of the Black people in this country, if you look at their features, are more of an Indian feature than it is of an African feature. So
here's another question though. So do you think that a lot of like the people that would join in that fight, is there like a tribal disconnect that probably would happen? Because maybe we would probably go into maybe somewhere in our ancestors we would probably come together. Or do you think it's a matter of like the people that were enslaved brought over here and they have like a certain like understanding about the white man and slavery and this, that, the other, and so therefore they would join in the fight to fight against their own people? Who do you think would be the Black people that would fight with the white people if they were to try to enact a civil war against us? So that we could say that they've already tried to bomb HBCUs and did like bomb threats.
Those Black people that are the same mentality that was what was the guy's name that they had that was fighting against Abraham Traoré over in Burkina Faso, the general, the 4-star general.
I forget what his name is, the general. Yeah.
I forget what his name is now. But those same Clarence Thomas, those same type of Negroes are around us all day, every day. And I'm talking about they believe, as I said, and I know this may be stepping on some people's foot, but those people who are still, and most of us, and 99, I'm going to say 98% of us still do celebrate European holidays, are suspect. Because if you continue to celebrate European holidays, then you're mentally, you're suspect. Because there's no black person, no true black person in their right mind is going to justify celebrating a Misgiving Day. I call it Misgiving. They call it Thanksgiving. But why in the world would you celebrate a massacre of your own people?